Am I the a-hole because I don't emotionally support my wife's obsession with Taylor Swift? I, 22 female, found out my boyfriend, 22 male, had sex with his dying friend. Am I the a-hole for bringing a condom on the first date? Am I the a-hole for laughing at my housemate when he suggested I not shower on my period? Am I the a-hole for leaving my own wedding because my husband embarrassed me? Am I the a-hole for coping with no sex life in marriage? Am I the a-hole because I don't emotionally support my wife's obsession with Taylor Swift? My wife is fully obsessed with Taylor Swift. For the last year plus, that's all she listens to. Every Taylor Swift album on one continuous loop when she's working out or even just walking around the house doing stuff. Spent $2,000 to go see her recently at the Eras tour. Probably spent another $200 on merch. She filmed the show on her phone and will regularly put it on the TV and just watch for hours. We'll also watch the live streams of her performance on TikTok or whatever streaming platforms those are on. Is now going to see the concert movie. I mean, it's just been non-stop Taylor Swift in our house for a long time now. She continually refers to the live concert as the best experience of my life. She says Taylor Swift is a lifestyle. I personally don't really get it. I've never been obsessed with anything to that point. I love soccer and would love to watch Messi play, but I can't bring myself to spend $900 for a ticket to his upcoming match. It's just too much. I'm also really passionate about things my wife has no interest in, but I'm also not looking for her emotional support with those. Those are just things that are important to me and will remain important to me regardless. I have for sure made comments to my wife implying that this whole Taylor Swift thing is getting out of hand. I also was not super stoked that she was spending that much on one ticket to go see one concert, but ultimately it's what she really wanted and we had the money, so I said yes. And I am happy that she got to go. Recently, she blew up on me about how I don't support her as much as she thinks I should with her Taylor Swift lifestyle. She cites comments I make implying it's a cult and the only one winning here is Taylor Swift raking in the dough. And maybe it's time to focus on other things. She wants me to stop making comments like that and stop rolling my eyes and be supportive of her and her interests. But from my perspective, it's really taking over her life, and that just can't be healthy to obsess over something like that. People need balance. I also thought one of the benefits of marriage was to have someone tell you this kind of stuff, and it shouldn't be an argument. I'm very much leaning towards you're the a-hole. I do think your wife is way overboard, but like, bro, you married into that. That was you. You said I do. You said forever and always. Don't forever and always if you can't forever and always no matter what. You know what I'm saying? What is it? Till death do us part? What about till Taylor Swift do us part? I feel like I have to go with you're the a-hole. That might be a lot, but there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it'd be one thing if she was not able to work Taylor Swift role play in bed, or like she was like trying to stalk her, but it just sounds like she spent a lot of money to go see her on tour, which you had the money for, as well as for the merch, and she just wants to consume as much of her content as possible, whether it's live streams, her own video, her music, like referring to the wife. If you're gonna act like this, that's fine, but don't expect people not to be like, that's kind of weird. If I was married to someone like this, I'd probably be saying the same thing. I'm like, yo, this is some weird ass cult over here. I love you, you do you, but like, leave me the fuck out of that. He's not lying. Y'all Taylor Swift fans, you're making her really rich, and like, yeah, you're getting some good music out of it. At the end of the day, she is raking in the dough. Yeah, I'm gonna go with you're the a-hole here. I think they just need to be more accepting. Like, I don't think it's a really bad a-hole. I think it's just like, bro, get over it. Like, as long as she's not putting anybody's life in danger, her job's not in danger, you guys aren't about to go into financial ruin, like, bro, let her be. Couples therapy could probably help with this. That'd be crazy. Can you imagine being that therapist and they're like, so what are you in here today? Did someone cheat? Is the love gone? Are you guys not having sex anymore? And this dude's like, she's obsessed with Taylor Swift, bro. I can't do it anymore. And she's just like, shut up and let me listen to Taylor Swift in my headphones. I, 22 female, found out my boyfriend, 22 male, had sex with his dying friend. I wouldn't have found out if one of our mutual friends didn't slip. My boyfriend and the girl did it when they were on vacation with other friends. She had a terminal illness and is dead now. I'm confident that he was never attracted to her. They never had a relationship beyond that. She did have a secret crush on him though. She was the little sister of their friend group. This incident happened late November or December 2021. She died in March 2022. He was visiting the hospital when she died. He's never had a death in his life before, so it really shook him. For the past year, his mental health has been very unwell. I don't know if I'm allowed to specify in this sub. It's not solely because of her death, but it was the catalyst. He rarely, if ever, talks about his feelings except with me. I hate myself because I get angry inside whenever he mentions her. I can't express my jealousy because she's dead anyway. This jealousy is eating me up. I just know that it wasn't fucking. They totally had emotional sex because of her condition. I don't even know who initiated it. It was probably something like how she didn't want to die a virgin. My boyfriend and I had never had sex all the way then. To clarify, he didn't lose his virginity to her, but she did lose her virginity to him. But he had sex with her before he had sex with OP. We have an otherwise perfect relationship. He's always been a good boyfriend, even when he's at his lowest. I had bad episodes before and the lowest of low points. He was the first one who stood by me. My family is strict and didn't approve of us, but he tried hard to win even my extended family over. We've been together for more than 3 years and have known each other since high school. No history of infidelity from both parties. I don't know if I can talk to him about this. I don't want to push him to the brink, but I'm also afraid that he might be dismissive of my feelings. I'm ready for the downvotes with this edit. I really mean it when I said that he stood by me. He practically fought to get me to keep living more than once. His poor mental health, to put it mildly, is the first time this happened. We were also best friends before we ended up together. I think it's unfair to be so black and white about this. Out of everybody, only one Redditor brought up that sex might not be consensual. That crossed my mind too, which is part of why I feel bad about being jealous / angry about this. More info about the vacation I didn't get to post. Other friends planned it with some other help from the girl. She wanted to go to that place for a long time. There were 7 of them, including my boyfriend and the girl. It lasted for 3 days and 2 nights. He asked me to come with when he was invited, but I declined. Beach getaways aren't my thing. I know it was supposed to be a getaway trip for the girl. I was only acquaintances with the rest, and I didn't want to intrude on her final trip with her friends, and this bit me in the ass later, lol. I mean, was there nobody else there to, like, this is a terrible thing to say, but, like, take one for the team? I think the biggest problem is, like, she doesn't know details. Like, if she knew details of whether it was consensual, was he doing it because she was dying and she didn't want to die a virgin? Like, there's too many question marks here. I still think he, like, shouldn't have done it. Like, at the end of the day, that is cheating. I hate to break it to you, but just because they help you get out of a couple like mental illness ruts, that's not a good reason to keep them around, at least in my opinion. I would still count it as cheating, number 1. Number 2, the only way that it maybe would have been okay is if he told her that it had happened, or if he had asked if it was allowed to happen. Like, it just seems really sneaky that she didn't find out from her boyfriend. He was still trying to hide it, clearly. I think they should break up with them. Like, I get it, they've helped you through a lot of stuff, but like, that's not, you can't be dependent on someone for that. Like, as much as you can have help, you can't be dependent on them. If I was OP, I would feel worse about the fact that he cheated on her, didn't tell her, tried to keep it a secret, and also doesn't have the balls to tell her exactly what happened. Let's read the update. I couldn't take it anymore, so I talked to him immediately. It's not an angry or accusatory conversation, just very emotionally draining for both parties, lol. I asked him as many questions as I could. So he said that he regretted it immediately, but he can't fault his friend much more out of compassion for her illness. He didn't tell me because he didn't know how I'd react and was afraid that I'd dump him. He didn't want to hurt me, but he did anyway because he didn't talk until now. The guilt is part of why his mental health is awful. He said he keeps feeling more guilty, especially every time we're together, when he talks about his mental health and I support him, etc. It is true that he is mourning her, but at this point, it's more that he is distraught over betraying the one he wants to spend his life with. His words: "We sound like we're on a soap opera or a Wattpad story, WTH." He didn't know how to talk about the latter, so he covered it up with mourning her when we talked back then. My BF said that if he could, he would have asked me for permission then. He would have respected my decision and wouldn't have done it. Though part of him would also feel guilty about not fulfilling his friend's wish when she dies. He added that he believes that it would be later outweighed by our relationship / feelings for me though. When I asked him if the sex was emotional for him, he admitted that it was because they were close friends and she was dying. He only did it because of their platonic relationship and her impending death. He wouldn't have done it in other circumstances. It wasn't romantic for him. As for who initiated it, was the girl. He was tipsy but not drunk. She kissed him and made the first move. He knew that she had a crush on him. He was never in love with her, never attracted, never saw her as a partner, even after what happened, etc. It was spur of the moment because of strong emotions. He didn't get to ask me for permission because it happened exactly at that moment. She didn't directly tell him to F her, but she confessed her feelings for him after kissing him and touching him. I don't like that. I have a problem with that, but we'll come back to that. He confessed to me that he felt kind of awkward around her afterwards, but he tried to move past that because they were friends, and she was literally dying, lol. I think it's so messed up that sleeping with him specifically was one of the dying girl's dreams. Maybe she just didn't care anymore because she was going to leave us anyway. I'm still conflicted. She wasn't even a bitch when she was alive. The girl is dead. I'm alive and with my boyfriend. What more could I do to her? Piss on her grave? I'm so sorry. That was the most like intrusive thought ever, but tell me where I'm wrong. Honestly, I feel like I tainted his memories of her too. What? There's no way he cheated on her and she feels bad. They were good friends then, and now she would be remembered as that girl who ruined our relationship. I feel bad about that too. I asked him if he would have told me what happened, and he said he didn't know. He might have taken it to the grave because he wants to forget it even happened, but he also said he might have told me when he felt confident enough to do so. Either way, he regrets not telling me immediately what happened. Yeah, no shit. Now that you know, of course he immediately regrets it. I tried to ask him if he thinks she planned the trip or planned to be alone with him to get him to sleep with her, but he didn't let me finish. Unlike with other questions, he got angry. I think he doesn't want to face that he might have been assaulted, especially by a friend who died. His mental health is awful already, and this is a heavy subject, so I didn't ask more about that angle yet. I'm not sure how I feel about the assaulted thing. Does not really feel like that to me. I asked him if he slept with her again after that or with other people. He said no. I asked what if he had another dying friend after this. He said he won't do it again given how much it affected us and our relationship, especially because he didn't want me to be this hurt again. He said it's not worth it, etc. Another thing I asked him was what would have happened if the girl got cured after they did it. He said that it would have ruined their friendship or it would take a lot of time for him to forgive her. He said she shouldn't have brought that up in the first place. I asked him if he would have dumped me for her. He said never, even if she was dying already. I don't know why I ever thought that he'd be dismissive of my feelings. He's always been supportive of me before this. I feel bad for doubting him, lol. In our talk, my boyfriend said he'd do anything to gain my trust back again. He kept apologizing and asking me to stay with him. At the same time, he said that he understands my point of view. He wouldn't blame me if I left him and never forgave him because he's aware of his betrayal. He said that it still counted as cheating and it was wrong, etc. When I say in this post that I feel bad about feeling certain things, he didn't gaslight or manipulate me into it. He was reassuring me that what I feel is valid. I also talked to the two friends who know about this issue. Apparently our mutual friend didn't tell my boyfriend that I found out. He said he didn't want to get involved but would support both of us either way. I asked him if their friend group was drinking on the trip. He said the group did on various degrees and times, like even when just playing chess or watching a movie. Our friend didn't drink except once because he's a lightweight. The girl didn't drink too because she's sick. I asked him if he thought it was possible that my boyfriend was drunk when it happened. I think this is the first time our friend considered that because he stopped for a bit then said probably. The one I'm not close with didn't know a lot of details, but she gave him an earful when he told her that he slept with the girl during the trip. She just didn't ask for more details because she didn't want to get very involved too. My boyfriend didn't explicitly ask them to hide this from me, nor did he ask them to tell me. At least I know on my boyfriend's side now. I think a cool off is the middle point of the dump him / reconsider advice I got. I can feel how contrite it is and the scenario was too sketchy. Anyway, I'm inclined to believe that yes, this was cheating, but I doubt it was enthusiastic consent. Yes, he put the girl's feelings over mine, but again, that's a girl who's facing her impending death. He genuinely thought he was doing his friend a favor. We're experiencing the consequences of that action now, but I know that it didn't come from a place of malice. To people saying I'm making out the girl to be or that I completely hate her, then you're completely wrong. It's not exactly the same, but due to past experiences, I know how precious life is. I understand where she's coming from. She was a nice girl in times I've met her, most of which happened before she diagnosed. You all have no idea how traumatizing it was for her, and everyone around her to see such a vibrant girl with so much potential wither before your eyes. Call me a cuck, but I actually would have said yes if both of them talked to me. I still think this whole thing's super messed up. And even though she's like, I wasn't gaslighted or manipulated, I think you were. My boyfriend said that if he could, he would have asked me for permission then. Here's a breakthrough idea. How about instead of just hooking up with her immediately, you tell her, hey, I get where you're coming from. Let's call my girlfriend first. Boom. Odds are she wasn't gonna die that day. You had time to ask your girlfriend for permission. You could have easily stopped it, been like, whoa, my girlfriend might not be cool with this, but it's something that I would like to give to you as a friend. Let's put a pause on this and I will call my girlfriend. There you go. So right there, I already have no sympathy for the boyfriend. Okay, so this paragraph, the initiation. Let's go over this. She kissed him and made the first move. She didn't directly tell him to F her, but she confessed her feelings for him after kissing him and touching him. I think the boyfriend's lying because the only conceivable way that I can imagine that this would go down and the boyfriend is telling the truth is if the girl comes up to him and is like, let's call him Tom. Hey, Tom, I haven't had sex yet. I'm gonna die. I would like you to do this with me. And then he was like, okay, sure. But she went up and kissed him, and then he was completely cool with that. Odds are he probably kissed her back. So whether she's dying or not, big red flag. I think homeboy's horny brain just turned on. Honestly, I feel like I tainted his memories of her too. That is not the conclusion that you come out with on this. This person sounds like a very nice person, don't get me wrong, but he cheated on you. Like, I feel like I tainted his memories of her. How about your relationship? Last thing I will say, I think this is the last point I had. Drop these two friends. Awful friends. If they both knew what was happening and didn't say something to you when it happened, terrible friends. He truly went booga booga caveman brain after she kissed him. I hate to break it to you, Izzy, that's like how a majority of dudes are. I don't know, I think the whole assault thing is like I'm not trying to belittle assault or like non-consensual things. That just doesn't sound like it. Like, it sounds like he was all there and he remembered and he actively chose to do it. I just feel like that not belittles, but it just like diminishes like people who have actually actually been assaulted, both male and female. Dude, what? I would do a lot of things for a dying friend's last request, but disrespecting my relationship and cheating to give them one last thrill is out of the question. Would he be so forgiving if you had done that? I don't think so. Good luck in this relationship, because I truly don't think this will be the last time you have an issue with him stepping out. She confessed her feelings for him, but didn't ask him to F her, so he made the decision to F her because she had feelings for him. Did I get that right? I don't think he's as innocent as you're attempting to brainwash yourself into thinking. He had an opportunity, took it, then regretted it, as most cheaters do. She did not have a dying wish to F him. She had a crush, and he took advantage of the opportunity. If you can forgive cheating, that's on you. Am I the a-hole for leaving my own wedding because my husband embarrassed me? I, female 27, and my husband, male 29, have been together for 3 years. In those 3 years, I have never known him to be selfish, occasionally immature, yes, but even that was rare. These problems arose when those stupid cake smashing videos got popular, and my husband thought they were hilarious. I've never thought they were funny, and he knows that, yet he always shows me the videos of those poor wives getting the happiest day of their life ruined by their a-hole partner for some cheap laughs. He also knows I have a history with cake smashing. My family does the cake smashing thing. I remember it was my 17th birthday, and I pleaded with my mom not to do it. She promised, and I trusted her. I had my hair and makeup done up all nice and right as I blew out my candles, and my mom pushed my head into the cake, and one of the decorations on the cake ended up slicing my forehead. Not enough to go to the hospital, but enough for some substantial bleeding. My birthday was ruined, and after, I wouldn't come out my room. My mom still calls me a brat for that. I told him if he ever did something like that to me, I'd leave him. He started laughing, but I was being for real, though he really was not taking me seriously. Now skip to a few days ago when my wedding happened. Everything was perfect. I was happy. He was happy. I was excited for our new lives as newlyweds. I felt like a princess in my poofy white dress and done up hair with perfect makeup. All very expensive things I would like to mention. We get to the cake cutting part, and as I turn to him, he scoops up a huge chunk of our wedding cake and smashes it all over my face. Everything seemed to go in slow motion for a few moments. He's just laughing at me and then says, "You should see your face," and continues to laugh. Other people in the crowd, mostly my family, is also laughing at me. Then I just start walking away. He realizes that I'm leaving and tries to catch up with me and says I'm being extra. I push him away and order an Uber. As I got outside, most of the crowd is following me, telling me to come back. I get into the Uber and drive away. I drove to our apartment and packed most of my things and went to stay at a hotel, though I am currently staying at a friend's house. My family and his family have been blowing up my phone for days, saying I'm being childish and my husband is a good man and it was just a joke. My husband has been calling me off the hook, telling me to please come home and that he wants to talk, that he's sorry and he didn't think it'd get that emotional. This was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives, and he embarrassed me in front of everyone for some prank that he knew I hated. Not only that, he ruined a $500 cake. He ruined my makeup, my hair, and the top of my dress. The cake got all over. Though I still do love him, and I'm wondering if I really was too hard on him. That seems to be everyone else's opinion. I'm sorry if someone in here who sees this likes those videos, but if you enjoy those prank videos, you are like lowest tier level human in terms of what you find funny. Like, people who find that funny, I think, are also racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's so if you sit there and you're like, whoa, that's so cool. On the happiest day of her life, her husband decided it was a great idea to scoop up a bunch of cake and smash it in her face, even though the dress is thousands of dollars, her makeup probably costed $100, her hair probably costed hundreds of dollars. Oh, and this fucking cake was expensive as shit. If you not only do that, but have the mental capacity to think that's really funny, you're just stupid. I can imagine it at a birthday party. Birthday party makes sense. Wedding, bro, are you like, you have to be stupid. Even further, him just disregarding her trauma around it. I'm not a huge fan of those cake smashing things, and I would be severely pissed if someone did it to me, because I saw a video, like, it didn't show anything graphic, but there was a girl who had her face smashed into a cake, and the people who had made the cake left like a wooden thing in the middle of it, and it went through her eye. Nuh-uh, I don't fuck with that. Not the a-hole, never the a-hole. Drop that husband, drop his family, drop your family, and like cut your losses, because this is ugh. So not only did he disregard her feelings, but on their wedding, it's 1,000 times worse if that's the way you're starting a marriage. Good luck keeping it together. Yeah, unless your guys' whole shtick is like pranks or something. For me, I want to ice my wife. If you guys don't know what that is, it's like where you give them a Smirnoff Ice and they have to chug it. Like, that's what I want. Like, that's a great prank because it doesn't ruin anybody's day. If you have a prank that like literally ruins someone's day or like capitalizes off of somebody else's embarrassment, it's like, I just think you're so like low tier brain if those types of pranks are what entertain you. My girlfriend got sexually assaulted and it's her her fault. About 5 months ago, my girlfriend started doing some questionable things like drinking / going to parties without telling me and going while knowing I wasn't comfortable with it, doing drugs even when she said she'd quit, pretty much wasting her life away either drinking or smoking. Dude, you are 18 and 19. Oh my God, this is the time to do it. One night while we were having a pretty intense argument about how her addiction's been affecting our relationship, she stopped replying. I checked her location and saw that she was walking somewhere. Oddly enough, this guy, we'll call him Derek, was also walking towards her direction. It was on Snapchat, so I could see where everyone was. Eventually, their bitmojis met, meaning they were together. Keep in mind, this is at like 3 in the morning. Derek was a handsome guy, and the fact that they were alone together led me to believe that she was cheating on me with him. Meanwhile, I'm blowing up her phone, texting and calling every 2 minutes. None of my calls were returned, and she did not answer me till the morning. When she finally did text me back, obviously I was furious. I called her every name in the book. We stayed together after that, but we were fighting about that night and her addiction every day. About 4 months after that night, she informed me that she was sexually assaulted by Derek. Of course, that part is horrible and this guy should rot in jail for what he did, but I still feel angry about that night. Yes, it was horrible that she was sexually assaulted that night, but she went out there on her own. She was meeting this guy behind my back. Derek was someone she used to have a crush on too. I don't like feeling such an ugly emotion about this situation, but I can't help it. I feel like a douchebag, but I got really insecure about her meeting up with this guy. And my anger towards this situation brewed for 4 months before I finally found out the truth about what happened that night. Her ghosting me in the midst of our argument, me begging for her to stop treating me the way that she was, to meet up with some guy she used to be attracted to, that really hurt me deeply. After she told me about that, I stopped talking about my feelings regarding that situation, which I feel is unfair because I was hurt too. It's been some time now since then, and I still think about that night. Should I leave her since it's eating me up? Not easy since we've been together almost 4 years. I don't think you should leave her. I think she should leave you because you are a bitch. I can already tell this is just like the most toxic male. She's doing drugs and she's not going out with me, and like she has to have my permission. I can't believe someone typed this whole thing out and was like, yeah bro, they're gonna be on my side. She was sexually assaulted. That was her fault for sure, brother. Like, what? Was it probably a little sketchy for her to go talk to Derek? Maybe a little bit, but I think you can overlook that for the fact that your girlfriend, who you apparently care about, allegedly was sexually assaulted. You know, I'm gonna take a really wild stance here and say that takes precedence over whatever the hell bitch boy feelings that you're having about this. This just like scares me for like a dude like this to be dating one of my sisters. Further, if I ever have a daughter, therapy is calling this guy and he is not picking up. Here's the thing, this is the type of dude that goes through a breakup and then he falls down the Andrew Tate hole. My son's like this. I'm just gonna throw away that whole son. Put him up for adoption, bro. Am I the a-hole for punching my ex's husband after he made a hurtful sexual comment about my daughter? My ex and I split up when my daughter, Sarah, 14, was 4. My ex has been married to her husband, Sean, for almost 3 years. I have my daughter 4 days out of the week due to her mother's work schedule. I don't like Sean. He always gave me a weird vibe. My daughter and I are very close. Sarah wanted to go to the movies with some friends, then to a friend's house. Boys were going to be there. I told her to be on the lookout and to call me if she got uncomfortable. This conversation went on while we were at her mom's. I was picking her up. Sean was in the room and said, "Why are you worried? She don't even have boobs yet." My daughter is already self-conscious and has asked me to buy her padded bras to fit in with her friends. Sarah went mute and ran upstairs. I asked him why he would say that about a 14-year-old. He said he was saying the truth and that she was safe from the boys. I just got filled with rage and my hands moved before I had a thought process and punched him. My ex kicked me out, made me wait in the car for Sarah. Later that night, my ex texted me saying I need to apologize to Sean. He may have to go to the hospital because his nose is bruised pretty bad. Pussy. And that Sean was only joking around and I let my temper get out of control. Bruh, that mom, mom, you're gonna let your husband talk about your daughter like that? Red flag, bro. I just felt as though he was sexualizing my daughter and also put her down too because it is something she is very self-conscious about it. What a double whammy. 2 birds with 1 stone. Let's say something really sexual and fucked up. Oh, but also let's put her down and make her mentally ill. Boom. Like, that's crazy. Not the a-hole. He's a skeezy scumbag and your ex is a sorry excuse for a mother letting her husband sexualize and insult her daughter and expecting you to be the one apologizing. Please have a long talk with your daughter who knows what else this asshole has said to her. That's true. What is he saying the other 3 days of the week, bro? Am I the a-hole for bringing a condom on the first date? I, 28 male, recently went on a date. I met Sally, fake name, 25 female, on Hinge, connected well, and we both decided to meet for drinks. I don't go to Hinge for hookups, but sex does happen when you connect with someone, and I like to be prepared, so I will bring protection. The night goes well, great conversation, great chemistry, and she invites me back to her place. We talk a little longer, and we get to her bedroom, and as things get hot and heavy, I pull out a condom. And then the room dynamic changes. She questions why I brought a condom and then politely asks me to leave. As I get home, apologizing in the process, she states that she doesn't like the idea that I was potentially expecting to get lucky, understandable, and doesn't think it will work. After bringing this back to the friend, male and female group, it has mixed feedback. On one hand, it is responsible to bring your own protection. On the other, it is kind of a weird move to do that early in the dating process. Wanting to hear the thoughts from the general population, especially as it is pretty common for me to bring a condom on the first date. Am I the a-hole for wanting to be safe if a situation happens, but also expecting a situation to potentially happen early on the date? E, explaining hot and heavy, making out with physical touch and clothes being removed. Intercourse was next. I just didn't want this process to focus on erotica/sex, but rather the idea of the presumption of sex. People are adding, was it a consent? I had her consent, we were transitioning into sex. Again, I don't want this to be an erotica. I want the focus to be on the notion of, is it bad to be carrying protection on the first date? I want to say not the a-hole, because like I do that. Rather safe than sorry. And also, like, I've had sex after the first date on a lot of my dates. So like, yo, not to suck my own dick or anything, but no, I think it's smart. Like, I think you can go into it being like, hey, I'm not expecting this to happen, but I'm gonna bring it just in case. Like, I'm not gonna say no if it's going to happen. And it sounded like it was going to happen. I feel like if I were in that situation, I would let it get to the point where she asks if you have a condom. But for you to like pull it out, it is like, I don't know why, but that's rubbing me the wrong way. It does seem like a little douchey. Maybe all she wanted to do was like some hand and mouth stuff. It is a little presumptuous to just be like, whoopah, you know, like came ready for this gunfight, you know? Even when I have girls over at my place, I like do most of the foreplay stuff and kind of just wait for them to be like, do you have a condom? Because that's when you're like, you're not just asking me, do you have a condom? Oh, you do? Cool. Let's not have sex. I mean, that's probably happened, but odds are that's probably not why they're asking. Am I the a-hole for coping with no sex life in marriage? Wife and I have been together for 10 years, married for 4, and we have no sex life. Nothing much else to it other than we just have different libidos. And that's something I've had to do a lot of work to come to terms with. This is something I had brought to her attention for quite some time, and even something we exclusively went to couples therapy for, but ultimately came to the conclusion that there's nothing much to do about it because she can't really force herself to want sex. And I'm not going to initiate if I feel like that desire and attention isn't going to be reciprocated. We have intimate touches like hugs and kisses, no problem, but lust and excitement that was once there just isn't anymore. She never really had the craziest libido before, but once we had our kid, it was nuked, which I've been told is a pretty normal thing for some women. Fast forward 3 years and we're happy as ever. Kiddos bouncing off the walls, work and personal lives are great. She goes out with her coworkers whenever she wants. We share chores, we're both in shape, and I really couldn't ask for a better marriage and partner. And then there was this morning. I guess one of her friends sent her one of those couple meme videos on Instagram and she showed me. Typical boyfriend randomly spanks you meme. Haha, I laughed and said it was funny and didn't think much else of it. About an hour later, she came and asked me why I never do that to her anymore. I didn't think much of the question and casually explained to her why. That when I do things like that, it arouses me and I will want to have sex. But I know she likely won't want to, so I stick to hugging / kissing / holding hands, the kind of intimacy she personally likes, to show her I love her. She seemed pretty annoyed and walked off. I asked if she was okay and she said, it's like you're not even sexually attracted to me anymore, which I was confused about and asked her what made her think that. I guess my not really having initiated anything with her for the better part of 2 years outside a handful of times has made her start to question whether I find her sexually attractive or not. To which I said jokingly that she doesn't initiate anything either, and the only reason I don't really initiate anymore is that I'm tired of being rejected and had to learn how to cope with it post-therapy. She then accused me of watching porn, to which I swiftly shot down. I have no password on my phone or laptop and handed my phone to her and told her to feel free to look through everything. She indeed checked both my phone and my laptop and asked me, so what do you do when you get horny because I know you still masturbate? I told her I handle myself with the old photos she had blessed me with. She didn't have anything else to say and stormed off. She sent me a text about 30 minutes later apologizing for accusing me of watching porn, but is still upset that I stopped showing her sexual attention, which is confusing to me given she shows zero sexual interest in me, but I can 110% empathize with the idea of not feeling desire. I told her that if she would like, I can start doing those things, which she responded, don't bother. I got mad and said, whatever man, and went about my day. She's been in the room all day and hasn't bothered to come out except for food and water. This whole situation has thrown me for a loop. The work we did in counseling taught me to be okay with it and taught me to love and be intimate in other ways. I just don't really know how to wrap my head around this situation. It seems so silly and frankly pretty damn unfair. Am I the a-hole for adapting to a life with no sex with my wife? I mean, I think it's even crazier that he doesn't watch porn. Even just for the fact of that, I want to be like, OP is not the a-hole. Not only has homeboy figured out a way to like live with you even though his sexual desires aren't being met, good on him. He's like, yo, I love my family, I love my wife, I like the life that we live together. You know what? If that is sacrificing sex, I will live with that. And honestly, What a great man. What a fantastic human being. It sounds like, at least after the couples therapy, the husband was the only, like, they didn't meet in the middle, which I guess for sex kind of makes sense, right? Like, it's not like she can just be like, yep, have sex with me, even though I don't want to. So like the husband didn't meet her in the middle. He like met her on her side of the turf. So because of that, I just feel like the wife can't be like, well, this is how I am. You should be just getting yourself horny all the time, even though I won't reciprocate it. You know what I'm saying? Like dudes want to feel sexually desired too. Like a lot of the times, like I bet he doesn't feel sexually attractive either. Like, oh man, I just love blue balling myself. Said no dude ever. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole. What are you guys saying? What are y'all saying over there in chat? He's probably leaving stuff out. Surely if she isn't initiating, then he could step up and at least try. No, I don't agree with that, Izzy. That's like not along the equality thing. Like in my opinion, a girl should initiate as much as a guy initiates. Also, if it's not about like sexual desire and it's more about her wanting to feel like she's wanted sexually, I don't know, that's not fair. Like he's like, oh, you love me, but you don't want to have sex with me. So if I know that if I get myself all riled up, it's a losing battle. I feel like I would also be like, okay, well, if that's the case, like I'm not going to do things that are going to get me all riled up. To me, it's like, why can't the wife make a sacrifice? Like, why can't the wife understand like, hey, I don't do this because you've made me like sacrifice a part of a relationship that would normally be important, but because I love you and I love our life together, I've decided I'm going to find a way to live with it. And this is how I live with it. And now you have a problem with that. Like, yo, wife, you got to meet him in the middle at some point. I don't think she should meet him in the middle when it comes to like sex. Like that should always be consensual, but she can at least meet him in the middle of like, hey, I don't grab your butt because you're not like that with me. And that just makes me upset. To me, that would lead to OP doing something bad down the line if he was just always getting himself horny and eventually he was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm gonna cheat on my wife. Not the a-hole, but this is a shit ton to unpack. She wants to feel sexually desired but not actually have sex. She wants to be chased but never caught, which isn't fun for you being stuck in a Wile E. Coyote role to her Roadrunner. Not only that, but she wants to have veto powers over how you take care of your sexual urges solo. Like from the sound of it, unless it's her, you aren't allowed to get off. And when you brought up that just as equally you'd like to feel sexy and having her decide when and where to make advances could solve that problem, she gave you a whatever. Am I the a-hole for laughing at my housemate when he suggested I not shower on my period? I, 31 female, live in a share house. One of my housemates, Jack, male 30, has never lived with a woman outside of his mother, but likes to say he is aware of women's issues and calls himself a feminist. I have something against dudes who are like, yeah, I'm a feminist. Haha. Yeah, girl, I know all your issues more than you know your issues because I'm a feminist. Like, I don't know why that just rubs me the absolute wrong way. For instance, he doesn't agree with saying no uterus, no opinion because it's my job to be informed about any issues that could affect me if I become a father or husband, which is fine until it came to this issue. So like most biological women, I have periods. I, however, cannot use tampons or cups due to a condition called vaginismus. It's like Christmas, but with vaginas. I'm gonna put myself in timeout for that one. I'm gonna go. Called vaginismus. It's pads all the time for me. Yay. I know the shock, shower during this time. Wow. I prepared a new pad onto a clean pair of undies, shower as normal, dry myself off in the shower, and then step straight into the undies. And obviously check the bathroom for mess. Jack's never complained, nor has anyone else, so I figured my system was working. Cue today. I can't shower for 48 hours due to a heart monitor test. I was jokingly complaining about how I was going to survive without my nightly shower, and Jack looked up confused and said, how is this any different to when you're on your period? I asked him what he meant, and he said, well, you can't shower on your period unless you use a tampon. And I laughed because I thought he was joking. He has shown before that he was at least semi-educated on women, which he got angry at. Jack said, wait, well, what do you do? And I said slowly, I shower? I wasn't getting it, I'm afraid. Jack said, without protecting my bathroom, he does not own the house, and went off. Apparently, my blood is unhygienic. It can cause infection if left on the shower floor, and he was under the impression I hadn't been showering for a week when I had my period or using tampons. What a pussy. I said that due to reasons I can't use tampons, and he told me I'm banned from showering when I'm on my period, which I laughed again, at which I did apologize for and say, I'm sorry for laughing, but the audacity of that statement. I told Jack he has no way of enforcing this, nor would I be sticking to this, and he said, fine. Then every time you shower, you need to bleach the bathroom afterwards, to which I couldn't help but laugh again, apologizing, but saying, we're in a share house. That's not reasonable when other people need to shower / use the toilet, and considering I'm sure at least somebody somebody else pees in the shower is ridiculous to only enforce on me. I brought that up and he said nobody does that. I've never heard that in my life. So I just had to walk away. Jack's been complaining to other housemates about this and saying we need to watch out for me, and we all think he's absurd for banning me. But a couple think that I should just at least try and compromise, so I'm confused. No, absolutely not. Jack is a coward and you should definitely not compromise. Biggest not the a-hole I've ever read in my entire life. Don't even need to look at the comments because I know exactly what they're gonna say. If you enjoyed, click right here to watch another one of my Reddit videos and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on new messy Reddit threads every week.